talked about the need as you really start separating your work from others to not only kind of have like an intended audience, but also an enemy. So it's like, what if when you're writing your piece, you're like, not only am I writing this piece for this group of people, but my goal is to also distance this group of people. What can I do to make sure that these other people are going to hate this poem? You gotta answer the so what question. Gotta answer. I read your poem. So what? Who cares? No one cares. If that's the answer to those questions, then the poem's not done. We have to have something that answers this to give it some sense of meaning. And if it's not answering, this is where I see a lot of like poets that write observational types poems and things like that, where they're just kind of describing things around them.
Yeah.
Oftentimes even separating themselves from the poem almost entirely. It's almost like this like omniscient speaker, and it's like there's no implications. Nothing's at stake. There's no big takeaway. There's no big change or anything like that. It's very difficult to derive meaning, and if that's the case, this is what can separate. It's, in my opinion, like the great poems from the good poems. Like, I'm not interested in writing good poems because good poems, in my mind, get forgotten. People don't remember good poems, but they do remember the great poems.
Okay, so in the writing process, I try to condition myself like this prior to writing the poem, but I try to condition myself with a willingness to let anything in the poem go if it services the poem. As soon as you do that, as soon as you can really kind of do this on a consistent level, I think your poems will be sharper, because the things that we are attached to in poems aren't typically things that we're attached to because they make the poem. A lot of times they're things that we're attached to because of some other subconscious childhood, adulthood memory or fantasy or, wish that we have over the words here that in our hearts and our minds makes complete sense. But if, a lot of times I'll come back to those favorite lines and things like that, and I'll just discover they're a different poem. If your poem are children, like, I'm raising my child, but I can't decide that my child is something. You know what I mean? Like, I can't decide that my child really, really loves basketball. I can play basketball with my child, but if at the end of the day my kid's like, no, I want to be in chess club, I'm gonna be like, you nerd, and then I'm not gonna play basketball with him. I'm joking. I love chess too, but I feel like that's like a really important kind of like attitude to have towards your work, which is, like, sometimes my poem is trying to be this, and I'm trying to make my poem this, and because I'm trying to make my poem this, it's just suffering. Like now my kid is like, well, I really want to be this kind of poem, but you're forcing this on me. So I have one, but I think this also kind of goes along with I do some screenwriting and directing, and so whenever I'm talking to like an actor, like one of the things, especially if I'm working on like one of my like longer projects, I'm always open to answering questions about the character, or in your case as like the writer, like the speaker, and it's prominently because I really, really, really think it's important to understand the speaker, because you can do things that are individualistic and different if you really understand who this character is. You see it in like, character work. Inglourious Basterds is a really good, freaking phenomenal movie. And the guy who plays Hans Lander, like the main antagonist in that film, like I was like watching this kind of breakdown of like, and him talking about him getting into character and kind of understanding character, and he would, him and Quentin Tarantino would spend hours talking about the character in like a lot of you under like know like kind of like the character iceberg or like the ice like, but in reality like the iceberg goes miles and miles down like beneath the surface of the water, and like you have to know all of that in order to create a convincing character.